I mean, these guys, nobody really has a good foothold onto the patch, so whatever they pick is just up to their own creativity, and that just leads for very exciting games.
Yeah, and again, this patch 6.22 came out on Tuesday. It has been 3 days, 3.5 days, I suppose, since then, and I'm excited to look at some of these picks. I mean, jungle has been changed up. Mid lane got changed up with the assassins. Armor penetration got changed into lethality, so that could also affect AD carries and top laners. We're rushing through the bans right away. We'll talk about these in a second, but this patch is massive.
Yeah, the assassins are becoming a little bit more viable, and they're changing certain items to kind of offer what they were meant to initially offer, things like Youmuu's Ghostblade, offering the passive movement speed as opposed to the active attack speed, that kind of thing. And even though, as you mentioned, we were talking about the bans, a lot of the bans stay relatively the same, and picks like jungle aren't affected as much as you would think with the addition of the actual honeydews and plants.
The blast cone.
The gardening jungle now, which is a very good time to start Machete.
So just a quick heads up, Sunny is a very heavy Hecarim player, and Jeffacake, the primary mid laner for Duke, who a lot of this focus is going to be around, it primarily plays Zed. He has been spamming Rise for the past 2 weeks. On the other side, Yujin has been playing Talon and Jace as well, along with that Syndra as a pocket pick. So those are standard bans. Now, first pick is going to be Jhin for Goober.
Yeah, all around just pretty standard. But the first pick, Jhin, with the addition of the Youmuu's Ghostblade, he's going to have a little bit of an easier time defending himself and not having to rely on the activation of the Ghostblade to escape out of most situations, as the movement speed is coming from out of combat. It might be difficult in the heat of the battle, but when you're against the likes of a Zac, it's going to be significantly harder for Zac to land that E on you if you're moving that much faster.
Especially if you can try to just position yourself in such a way to keep back, okay, I know there's a Kennen, I know there's also a Zac, I have to be conscientious of this. And speaking of positioning, a lot of that is inspired by vision. Control wards are now a thing. Pink wards are gone. Control wards are going to be so important.
Yeah, I mean, it changes how invisibility works altogether. There's camouflage, there's pure invisibility, and then some are differentiated. And I think it's easy to tell the difference when you look at the actual kit and how these abilities are meant to be used. But the big one about them is that they immediately disable all the other wards that the opponent has in the area, so you don't need to really waste time clearing those wards because you know that you're hidden.
The value of that vision goes up so much more, but then that also changes the dynamic because, okay, and now he has a control ward, he's going to clear out all of my wards. You know that area is safe. You have a control ward. Outside of the pure invisibility champions, which are relatively small time frames of stealth. And again, that's depending on whether or not we're going to see that. As Vayne gets hovered, I'm excited.
It might be a shout out to James from last week's Rivalries matchup, right? But I mean, there is a okay. Looks like it. Could it be?
It might be. So that's sort of been the rumor, right? With
yes, it's Vayne.
With the new Duskblade, Vayne synergized with it so well. Anytime she stealths and loses vision, she gets that bonus damage.
Right.
So plus the empowered auto attacks from GOP's Nami. This is going to be exciting to see how we're already starting to see some new things.
Well, Nami does well into the Janna because the sustain is going to outbeat the heals or the shields during the laning phase, and Vayne is a pretty strong champion in terms of just regular dueling, although I'm not entirely sure how she's going to fare in this matchup with Jhin Janna. They have a lot of movement speed and a lot of range that they can utilize to bully the Vayne. So it's going to be a matter of how well can she dodge all of the skill shots and kind of weave in and abuse the downtime with Jin's cooldowns and passive attack cooldown.
We're going to have to keep an eye on the CC. Now, University of North Carolina are going to have to deal with 2 high damage threats, and that's without the mid laner from Jeffacake picked up. So they're going to have to pick that first and give us a show. Looks like it is going to be Poppy locked in for Ackerman in the top lane, and Yujin in the mid lane taking that Orianna.
I really like this from North Carolina. This composition, there's so much to love about it. You have a ton of disengage into what is the Kennen and the Zac as being the only forms of engage from this team. Janet and Lee Sin with Poppy, with Orianna is plenty of peel to make sure that Zach never hits a slingshot. He should never go in here because Tornado can automatically cancel that, as well as the Monsoon. Poppy's steadfast presence is going to mitigate that as well, especially if she ever gets on top of the Vayne. That Tumble's not really going to have a good time into the likes of Poppy, who wants to utilize walls where Vayne is also going to be vulnerable and try to use them.
It certainly is going to be a challenge. Just as a fun fact, Eugen in that mid lane, his Orianna actually is the highest KDA of all of his mid laners. This is a guy who plays...
What we have to really talk about is going to be the actual plants, the gardening, the extra addition to the jungling, and of course you got to start a machete if you're starting to go weed whacking across the river.
Yeah, get those scryers, blooms, and blast cones all across the map as we have now loaded onto the Rift. This is game number 1 of the uLoL Rivalry series between University of North Carolina and Duke. So far,
lots of nerves coming in already. Apollo's forgot to buy items. What's going on down there?
Oh, getting a little shaky. He's already got his trinket because he did leave the base, and looks like having a little bit of technical difficulties. Might hopefully be able to get this going, but the game is still continuing because this is being played on the live server.
Yeah, of course.
And not all of Riot went down. I think it was only just us.
Well, regardless, I think that we got to take it to the radio now and narrate the game purely off our sounds.
Yeah. So we are 1 minute and 15 seconds in. We saw defensive lines across the board with UNC in the blue and Duke on the red.
Yeah, just a classic standard 5-point formation, both junglers. It seems like the Zac is going to actually be starting on the bottom side of the map at the blue buff with assistance from the Nami and Vayne, whereas you have Lee Sin starting topside into what seems to be a blue buff start, which is something that you never really see on Lee. You usually expect the Grump.
Trying to get that extra AP scaling on Lee Sin. So important. No, probably not. But he will smite to take that away. Gets his own level 2. Yeah, looks like Sunny is doing the same thing with a blue buff on the opposite side, taking a little bit more time as the AD carries now have managed to roam down into that bottom lane.
I think it's worth mentioning that the reason why these guys are starting into the blue side this time around is that the monsters in the jungle have lost a lot of the smite bonuses, whereas the big ones keep that sustain to make sure that you have a little bit more versatility and you don't always have to start at the red buff if you're a jungler that needs a little bit more help.
Yeah, so interestingly enough, Sunny held on to his smite for the Gromp camp. And again, Sunny is on that Zac in the jungle, so he clears that through and heads over towards his second camp. Looks like he's going to Wolves, whereas the Theo Pinson has already headed down towards the bottom side on that red buff instead of going for a full clear.
And you'd expect him to sit around this bottom side a little bit more because his dual lane is pushing right now. You have the advantage onto the Nami and Vayne. If you can keep him under the tower, you might be able to get a little bit of pot shots onto that, or maybe just go for some aggressive counter jungling. We just see him going into the river right now, trying to secure that Scuttle Crab for the team, which will allow not only mid but bottom to remain pushed up and hopefully generate a bit of a CS advantage that way.
We're seeing a little bit of trading, nothing too exciting. It's still only 3 minutes into the game. And as it stands, no big differences. Looks like after that 3 jungle start from Theo, he decided to go for a nice deep ward into Duke's side of the map, but was unable to find vision on Sunny as he's jungling currently at his own red buff. So everyone's just keeping safe in lanes and farming those minions.
And as Zac, you really just want to be farming early on. You don't want to put yourself in a position where you're looking for ganks that aren't there. You have very good success rate on ganks if they are in the right position, but otherwise it's just too risky. You're not dealing that much damage early on, so it's understandable that he goes for just more of a farm route, and he's going to come out ahead in this because he's not looking for as many opportunities as Lee Sin. He's just going for the gank, although, just as we call it, he might be going for a gank onto mid lane right now.
Yeah, leaps across to find Eugen, who is overextended past the halfway mark. He's made it into the river brush and will walk away from the gank. No kill happening there. On the bottom lane, however, now that they see that Zac in the mid lane, Goober and Apollos put a lot of pressure onto Komori and Gop, and we're able to get them down below half, but they're not missing too much CS.
And that's exactly what we were talking about, right? There's the river control from Theo that he placed earlier by securing the Scuttle, and he's jungling in the bottom side of the map, which means that if any action were to happen, he would have enough time to respond and assist his team, and they're comfortable pushing up to here, and they've already built up a bit of a 5 to 6 CS advantage in the bottom lane. especially because the AD carry also has Biscuit.
And you've got to sort of expect that as a Vayne player.
Yes.
That 500 range just makes it so difficult, especially against Janna and Jhin. If you get hit by anything, that CC is just going to keep you locked down.
Absolutely. The Nami is really just a saving grace for this lane for her.
But as it stands, we've now hit the 5-minute mark. Aside from that early gank, in which Yujin did not use any summoners. Looks like we are finally back into game on screen. So again, taking a look at it, you can see the gold is even all the way across. No summoners traded, and pretty standard, pretty even.
Some action in the top side where Duke Omega almost died. I believe it looks like a counter gank, but that's just good timing from Lee Sin. He used his time effectively, went to the top side straight away from base, so he was able to respond to what Sunny's route watch, which is starting bottom side and finishing to the top side. So good moves from Theo.
And that is the flash from Omega. He's got his teleport. We'll see if he decides to use it to head into lane, as Ackerman still currently has the CS advantage. Not LMQ Ackerman.
Yeah.
This is a different player.
Absolutely. He did not move from China to the United States to compete in the LCS and then graduate and then leave the LCS to go study at the University of North Carolina.
Which, to be fair, is admirable if that were the path that he decided to choose. But I believe Ackerman is still currently in China, so... as it is, everyone else heads back into lane. You can see new control wards picked up by Sunny and Jeffa. There's an additional control ward for Yujin in his bottom side bush in that mid lane, as both the junglers are on the bottom side of the map right now.
Yeah, and it appears that the Visions are taking priority into the bottom side of the map. They want to put the advantage down the bottom, but a gank from Zac seems to be happening.
Oh, he's looking for Goober. The bubble catches him. That's a teleport being used. Kumori is exhausted, and they will try to get out of here. Flash to break away from the snare as Ackerman at level 6 completes the teleport.
Very close call there. The fact that the bubble hit was a little bit unexpected. You would have hoped that the Goober would have sidestepped it, but luckily they're able to defend themselves with the TP from Poppy, and Kennen still unable to push the lane and really punish Poppy so far.
Yeah, Theo is going to find Sunny at that Gromp, and with 4 members of UNC, that means Duke has got to be careful on this side of the jungle. Control ward, he is going to bait Sunny in. He's going to be knocked up. He's still got that Cell Division passive. That's a double bubble. Theo is the target, stunned against the wall. There's exhaust, he flashes. Kumori chases and gets knocked up. Here comes Jeffa, that's first blood, as there's chaos in the back line, and Duke will pick it up and walk away.
Just a little too aggressive from UNC. The initial play failed. They had to cut their losses and retreat. Unfortunately, they try to go back around. They look for Sunny. The dual lane was already pushed up, so they're able to collapse effectively, and they're going to be able to pick up first blood, only at the cost of a TP.
And this is the Jeffa Cake mid laner that Duke was saying was their priority, that UNC wanted to shut down now with that first blood. He's not on a super snowbally champion like Zed, as that was banned away, but hopefully he should be able to do some work on this Victor.
Yeah, that CS lead that he was losing onto the mid lane will hopefully be mitigated by this first blood kill, which should allow him to go back and really upgrade his hex score. And once he gets that upgrade and gets the blue buff, it's going to be farming season for him. Just non-stop wave clearing without the threat of Orianna pushing the wave and potentially harassing the turret.
Leading that recall now. Seems like we're seeing the same out of Kumori and GOP as they head back for those first few items. Goober going for that BF sword right away. Not going for the Youmu's first anymore.
Yeah, so it looks like he might be going for an Essence Reaver build here out of Jhin. If you get the BF sword early on, it does a huge amount of damage, and it's typically worth it because of just how simple it makes your last hitting at this point.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on what he decides to go for. Kumori likely going for that new Duskblade of Drakthar. I mean, the item itself is not new, but the changes to it in 622 synergize particularly well with Vayne, opting for the BF sword portion of it first.
And I'd like to see how this laning phase goes on with the BF sword. Sometimes you see, a little engage.
Caught by the snare. He doesn't have his flash. Oh, chunked down to 100, uses the heal and gets healed up a bit by GOP. Giving a bit of that old-fashioned Nami span just to keep Kumori safe.
Yeah, he should be fine. There's lots of sustain with the Nami heal, but close call there. Forced to blow the heal, and that's going to come in disadvantageous for the next engage.
We'll keep an eye on Kumori as this wave crashes into the turret. Starting to see that CS open up. Now 20 CS lead for Goober. Yujin opening up with about a 17 CS lead for himself. Likely even in gold with Jeffa Cake. because of that first blood. But in the top lane, Ackerman not able to follow up with the rest of his team. He's down about 14 CS as well. This wave should keep him within about 10 though.
Yeah, and this is what you want to expect out of a Poppy lane into the Kennen. Kennen obviously has an incredible amount of harass early on. He's safe. He's a pick that has kill threat as well, but he's going to be ganked right now with the flash not available on Duke. He might be in trouble.
Oh, Theo kicks him right into the wall, chases for some damage, baits out the slicing Maelstrom. Theo's still in it. Ackerman chases and gets a kill.
Just utilizing the wall chain CC so effectively. Kicked into the wall, will offer a bit of buffer time where the character is unmovable, but Jeffcake is going to try to pick up Theo.
He's got the Chaos Storm, the laser misses, and he gets ejected from the top lane. Theo walks away.
Just thank you, come again, and his roam was a complete waste, and now he's going to go back to the mid lane, find himself without the ultimate and no blue buff, which means that Orianna in this position is going to have a field day.
Oh, Kumori going for the kill onto Apollos. He's going to be knocked away, but Sunny joins the battle. Will he be able to land the third hit? Is it enough? No, he shields himself in time. Apollos is under turret. Goober walks away as well, and Duke do not convert.
Such a close call, and you have to say that it's the disability to chain CC properly that really stopped them from getting the kill. The bubble and condemn came out at the exact same time, which just gave Janna enough time to get them on soon enough. Had that not happened, that would have been a dead Janna and potentially a push for a tier 1 turret out of Duke.
That would have been so nice to get on that vein, but Sunny continues in. Is he going to look for the kill as he knocks Goober back? Kumori is low. Still no summoners. That's the curtain call on cooldown. Sunny has got cell division, but it's about to be broken. Gob is the target. Will they be able to get any of these kills here? The AoE doesn't stack up. He's got one blob left, and he gets shut down. Ackerman will kill.
And Janna makes it out with a sliver of health, tanking the turret so effectively. And first brick is going to go down to UNC. Just such a huge amount of gold split between your AD carry and your tank. Really nice split of gold there.
Yeah, meanwhile, UNC are not content with only that kill and a turret. They're also looking at Mountain Drake. 12 minutes in, University of North Carolina come out swinging in this early game.
Everything going their way, and really intelligent play by them to just understand that the bottom lane is doing very well right now and that they have to assist it one more time as a counter gank. And you're going to see it right here. Duke Sunny's going to try to engage, but engaging a Zac without your E landing is very difficult to do. He walks it forward, but he's tanking too much damage here. Just such a great tornado by Apollos, deflecting both of them. The TP comes in, and it's just a death wish. Ackerman is too tanky. He can tank the turret very well, allowing them to have enough time to kill the blobs.
Yeah, Apollo's taking 1, 2 shots and surviving. But as you said, Ackerman already getting nice and tanky and doing a respectable amount of damage as well. Still down about 15 CS, 14. But he's got those 2 kills. That's more going to make up for it.
And with a purely magic itemization, he's going to be able to just run straight past the tank, sit on Vayne, and she's going to be unable to tumble out of these situations. And it's going to make her viability within a team fight super dangerous and super difficult.
Jeffcake, meanwhile, looking for another roam to the top lane as UNC have swapped Ackerman towards the bottom and Goober to that top lane to continue to try to expand this advantage that they've opened
And
up.
then this swap, Duke has left their AD carry Vayne in the bottom side to try to 1v1 the Poppy. Likely she would be able to if there are no walls because of the true damage, but what we have to look out for here is a 3-man group from UNC into the top side and potentially pushing the Kennen out of this lane. He doesn't have a Zhonya's, so he's definitely very killable with the high damage burst that we can see from Jhin and Janna. Once they start getting you very low, the execution with the ultimate and the passive from the crit just deals so much damage.
Omega will take a hit, and wow, actually landing the long-range snare. Goober feeling very confident with that assist. 30 CS ahead of Kumori.
And while he might be feeling confident, his support does not feel confident about him. He's like, you need some help, bud. Comes up there, hands him a little fish, heals him up.
Yeah, and here comes the rest of the team. Sunny trying to clear out some of this vision as Eugen heading up as well. Even Theo is on that side of the map, and now you can see Kumori cheating towards that mid lane. A ping will spot him out as a ward in the river sees him. Eugen
just harassing. Getting harassed there as a jungler is one of the most infuriating things. You question your mid laner, what's going on, where's everyone at? But they're right here and they're in no danger whatsoever. Poppy trying to collapse, but
oh, that's pretty greedy. Kumori flashes the shockwave as Ackerman tries to pull a kill.
Quite an aggressive play. You have to expect the Vayne to burn that summoner there, be willing and ready to respond to it. But if UNC plans on focusing the Vayne, trading flash for flash here will definitely put them in an advantageous situation to find her again and keep isolating her for the next 5 minutes.
Again, Vayne still falls into that same category of get to 45, 50 minutes, then you murder everyone. But if you can end the game before then, or keep Vayne from getting to that point by killing her, that is usually a pretty effective way as well.
Yeah, absolutely. But she thrives on champions that want to run into you. And when you only have Poppy, that is one of the picks that will be running into you, and you have Janna, Jhin, and Orianna, looking for her opportunities inside a fight is going to be really tough. So if she can actually pull through, we might be able to see some outstanding Vayne performances in this game by Kumori.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to have to keep an eye on that.
Jeffcake, what's going on?
Drops the Chaos Storm. What a knock-up. Apollos catches Sunny in midair, flashes. And Jeffcake taking heal in the mid lane, and it ends up saving his life.
Just a gentleman's agreement to not go full all in on each other, but the Zac, his slingshot just barely getting canceled by Apollos' tornado. And I gotta say, this channel has been absolutely on point. And I feel like if she keeps playing at this rate, it's gonna be nearly impossible for us to see Omega or Sunny get engaged onto what is UNC's 4-man lineup.
That mid-tier 1 now taking down about half of its health over the course of that bit of harass, as Jeffcake will recall and complete his fully upgraded Hex Core. Kumori just catching minions on the other side, now down 40 minions at a full level.
Yeah, I mean, and we see a completed item on the side of Goober with the Essence Reaver, so going for the more utility, wanted to get that lower cooldown on his abilities. So looking for a lot of picks, and hopefully he uses that ability towards the mid lane right now. In combo with the Shockwave and Jhin, this should be an ability to take on mid and then push for the tier 1. And he's hiding right here. Let's see if he falls for it.
Ooh, the Howling Gale finds Jeffa. He's snared. Yujin wards over the wall, but
so much damage.
Yeah, that's a fully upgraded Hex Core.
That's a 34 magic resist Orianna without her shield on.
60 seconds until that Drake respawns. Looks like it is going to be an Infernal Drake, so both of these teams definitely want that. And as a result, UNC have swapped Goober back down towards that bottom lane. Eugen's going to get his recall now, even though he's just finished an item, because it's so important to be at full health. No, he actually stays in lane as Scuttlecraft is picked up by Duke.
And speaking of completed items, Kumori finished the static Shiv. Yes, the static Shiv, the one that shanks you with electricity. That's what she has, and she just wants to have that wave clear. And that what that's going to do is it's going to allow her to have a little bit more control in the lane and participate more in a team fight, because Vayne, one of the few AD carries that doesn't have an AoE ability to clear waves and move around the map. This is going to speed that process a little bit up, and we see a ward potentially for a TP here.
Ooh, Theo goes into the back. He gets pinned against the wall and cleaned up by the crowd control of Duke. Teleport used and canceled by Ackerman.
Oh my god, that is some Lee spotting if I've seen. What's going on, man?
It's supposed to be the other way around, Vayne spotting.
Well, the idea was there, but the execution extremely slow. You want to have the Poppy TP right away, but you have to imagine that what happened was they weren't in sync, and you saw that Kennen was almost in front of Poppy, and she doesn't feel comfortable blowing the teleport right in front of a champion that can easily disrupt it.
Getting stunned while teleporting, one of the worst things. Ackerman, whoa, might be looking for the kill. Flash is used. Ackerman doesn't have his yet. He's under the turret, doesn't get stunned, and will get a solo kill onto Omega.
Just Star Guardian Poppy doing so much work here, but immediately Jeffcake might be trying to flash over the wall. Oh,
ooh, no. Didn't quite get the angle on that one.
Ackerman, can he make it out of this?
Looking for the turret. There's the laser. Chaos Storm shut down. That's the kill. The minion.
Just a sliver of health.
Doesn't have enough to finish off that turret. Taking a quick look.
And that's a 3-0 spree onto the Poppy, whereas Victor is now 2-0. And that CS advantage that was so important for Eugene is now just turning into nothing because he's used all in kills. Nice little engage here.
Ooh, that Scryer's Bloom ended up backfiring as GOP gets knocked right back in. UNC pick up a kill in trade. So that top tier 1 has 26 health.
It'll go down eventually, although it's nice by JeffCake here, though, choosing to stay and take it as a response.
Oh, yeah, taking the top tier 1. What damage out of Eugen?
These mages seem to be taking this game by the horns. Both of them are really dictating what is going on with the team. Orianna dealing so much damage, and with the removal of the Aegis of the Legion Aura right now, it's very difficult for the entire team to feel protected into these really heavy control and team fighting mage. So Orianna and Victor, their damage is going to be incredibly key for these upcoming fights.
Yeah, with the top tier 1 gone and those 2 kills for UNC, they take that mid tier 1. Rift Herald despawns.
This is the replay that's going to be a nice little attempt onto the insect with Lee. He flashes and gets condemned, so the connection onto the ultimate does not hit. But luckily, you get Nami, and you're able to pick up the kill and the blue buff so that you have your mid laner have that consistent pressure. And this is just the power of Jhin. As soon as the tumble goes through, bam, you get hit with the root and you're dead.
Yeah, flash, command attack, command dissonance. Even using the 4th bullet just to harass Sunny. Knowing already that they wanted to try to pressure that mid-tier 1. Something UNC said that they wanted to focus on specifically in this game was improving their mid-game macro play. Well, with those kills and those rotations, I'd say they're pretty successful.
Yeah, 3 outer turrets taken already at 20 minutes. Really nice pace considering you have almost a 4K gold lead. But now this is where you're really tested. How well can you push tier 2s? Because pushing for tier 2s requires an understanding of wave management as well as how to move between lanes. Like, is not really necessary for tier 1. So if they're capable of pulling this off, it's going to be incredible strides towards them in improving their mid-game rotations.
Yeah, meanwhile, that Infernal Drake was picked up by Duke. So as you can see, it's split 1 and 1. Omega tries to go in. He eliminates Goober and manages to split up Theo. Ackerman CC lock flashes away, and they won't be able to chase. That's 1 kill for Duke.
And they have to count their blessings there by only losing 1 and not even blowing the flash. So lucky from UNC, fantastic by Omega, recognizing that he is capable of stalling until Zach gets there, until the team is able to follow up. And that's the danger of this lineup. Vayne is going to always be relevant. No matter what stage of the game, she can murder your tanks. She will always dish out damage, and you have to play every fight carefully. They didn't do it. They got caught in the rotations, moving from middle to top, which is what we were discussing. You see it right here. The movement isn't ready because Orianna and Janna have not pushed middle. He recognizes, hits the proto belt with Zach at the same time, tidal wave from the command, and then just so much damage onto the Poppy. Vayne and Victor can easily handle her.
Yeah, unfortunately not able to get an additional kill, but Duke reacting quickly, showing that they can keep up with the speed, and when given an opening by UNC, they can take it and make something happen. Theo just missing that control ward there.
So what we want to see out of UNC so that the same thing doesn't happen if they don't lose that control and give Duke the opportunity is make sure that they push up middle and roam together to the top side. So what they're doing here, significantly better, right? You move everybody up together and Orianna stays in middle, controlling the wave so that you have a safe access and connection between both top and middle turret, allowing you to have the inside track into these movements.
This is now the same play, but executed a second time. However, Duke are not prepared.
Neither is UNC. Orianna's just barely meeting it now.
Yeah, the top tier 2 already chunked down to half. Kumori caught by the snare. Stealths dodges out from that aura. Knockup will separate 1 as Omega completes his teleport. Ackerman still in the front, gets stunned, tries to get out, but will be killed. Shockwave catches 1, Cell Division, but that's Kumori going down. Reset. Is he looking for the kill?
Can he get
that's
Zach?
1 blob left. A double kill now for Eugen, as so far that's 1 for 2 in favor of UNC.
And as soon as Orianna got there, the fight was just turned around. So much damage out of her and not a single magic resist itemization out of Duke. She does so much DPS that is AoE, and similarly, the Victor and Vayne were able to handle Ackerman like he was just paper, and he's going to have to play these fights considerably different than any other time you play Poppy just because of Vayne.
Yeah, you can already see he's trying to get tanky with that Sunfire and Spirit Visage, but here is Kumori getting caught in the fight once again.
So he's trying to push Kumori back to the, make sure that he steps away from the turret, but the Victor, the Poppy channel immediately makes UNC back away, and watch Orianna right here. As soon as she enters the fight, it's going to turn. She hides in the shadows, they don't know where she is. Bam, instant shockwave, 2 people practically dead with the flash from Goober, enabling the kill, making sure that they can't retaliate effectively.
Yeah, and from there, it was a simple cleanup to polish off the kill onto Sunny and get
Jeff
Kumori.
Cakes.
But JeffCake will be collapsed upon by Ackerman, who teleported into the back line. He's got the support of his team, and Ackerman so aggressive. He's not able to find it. Curtain Call gets disrupted. Sunny's in the back. Is there enough support to help clean up this fight? Kumori joins in. Apollos takes 2 big hits as Kumori chases him down.
Oriana
looking for the third. Turns onto Theo. Shockwave finds 3, but it's not enough. The panic Zanyas from Omega. Kumori is going to drop to Eugen as Sunny tries to join, but this fight is too staggered from Duke. They've lost 2, and Eugen chases forward, making it a triple kill. Ghost for Gop, and does not get the quadra. KS by his teammate. The Penta was denied, but UNC take the ace.
Eugen just such a hero in this fight. As soon as he steps in, he plays it really carefully. You can tell that he's weaving, waiting for the opportunity to get that shockwave. He gets a 3-man ultimate, which allows him to push on the offensive here and turn the fight around. Just such patience from Eugen, looking for the windows, and UNC being saved by him one more time.
Yeah, that's the mid inhibitor now going down as UNC complete this push. Duke respawn just in time to watch it fall, but it is 25.5 minutes in, and UNC are looking for their 3rd dragon. They've got 7,000 gold ahead of Duke, not to mention those 7 kills. They're probably going to be feeling really good about this one.
Just a golden opportunity here. They're looking for the bait, maybe looking for a little bit more as well. A little bit greedy, but the shockwave. Beautiful
managed to
timing.
catch him as he's trying to slingshot away. Curtain Call is going to be fired, but Ackerman will not be able to do too much here as
They're
Kumori
throwing.
gets a Colt, trying to chase forward. Ackerman takes the 3rd bullet and retreats. Kumori trying to catch up. Doesn't have the flash. Instead, we'll try to settle for this Infernal Drake.
So smart play here by Duke. Just turning for the dragon, not getting greedy, and maybe thinking it's time to do a Baron. Their composition still allows them to scale, cut their losses, and take something which is very valuable here. Enabling that dragon advantage of Mountain and Infernal is going to make the dividends in... Oh, here's the engage that we see. So it's going to come in with a TP on Ackerman onto Jeff Cake, and Lee Sin's going to join the battle.
Yeah, they try to kill off Jeffa Cake, but he flashes just in time to get kicked into his turret. By this point, Duke is able to regroup.
And the Zac here immediately cancels Goobear's Curtain Call, so he has to peel back. He's running away, but the shields come in from Oriana, from the Janet. Watch him right here. This shockwave, 3-man. Even though nobody dies immediately, the amount of damage that he deals, Vayne getting a little too aggressive, thinking that he might be able to one-shot the Oriana, just does not have nearly enough damage. He turns on the shoes, he puts the pumps on, flashes in for the kill, 2 more kills, and then the 3rd one by the Lee Sin shield.
Yeah, so close. Stealing away Ackerman's double, scumbag Eugen.
Hey, 7 kills, you can share the love.
Yeah, at this point. 7-0-2 right now for Eugen, having an exceptional performance in this match. And some of what we're starting to see, it really makes me wonder, this is more than just a ranked game or a draft game or even a scrim. This is more than a competitive match. This is a 96-year-old rivalry. And you've got to imagine the weight of that has got to be playing on these players in a way that they can't have expected.
Well, at this point, I feel like Eugen's got to be feeling like the quarterback, right? He's throwing everything well. He's doing pretty much the majority of the work for his team here by picking up most of these team fights pretty much single-handedly, and it's just a really great feeling overall when you look down your itemization and you're clearly that much further ahead than your counterpart, that you know that the game is in your hands. And that's the beauty about these control mages, that you really feel like you can offer everything that each team fight is necessary.
Yeah.
It requires.
Eugen is doing his best Mitch Trubinsky impression after that game last night. So many excellent passes, but will he be able to take the win for the rest of his team, as now 5 members of Duke are trying to group up near that Baron and mid lane, clearing out super minion waves to keep themselves safe, as UNC still lead by about 5,000.
So Duke is now really grouping and making sure that they push for the Baron. They have to take advantage of this 5k gold lead and the inhibitor, and they have to use that pushing towards Baron. You have the TP onto Ackerman. He can go to the bottom side. Once they pressure there and they're able to use the control wards and the sweeping lenses effectively around Baron, they should be able to push. But it seems like they're sporadic once again and might give Duke a window to come back.
It seems like Duke are just waiting for now. Don't want to take any chances in this match and might have to slow down, take a deep breath, let it relax a little bit, let themselves catch up in terms of total gold and items. We're starting to see some breaking points. Infinity Edge finished for Kumori. He's working on a Zeal as well, so not going for the Duskblade style. Meanwhile, Yujin, as you said, finishing off that third item. 3 items now finished for Ackerman as well. 2.5 for Goober with that last Whisper. This is, we're getting towards the late game.
Yeah, this is it. And another late game classic move is pushing into the Baron side and acquiring vision, but UNC just really not doing that. Only able to place 2 wards onto the red quadrant of the map for Duke, and that's not going to allow for sufficient Baron control for you to start this safely. So I expect this game to stall out unless a massive mistake happens, just because Duke does not feel pressured to move anywhere else, because they know that Baron is safe and because they're able to push so far up into the mid lane.
Now with this vision and pressure, UNC are looking for an opportunity. It's up to Duke to not present one. Omega walks away from Ackerman. Theos clears out the control ward, so Omega knows that he's able to back away nice and safe, still under that tier 2, and Duke are rather expertly dealing with this defense, waiting out this opportunity, and finally their inhibitor comes back.
Yeah, and in those moments where you just wait, the top laners know that it's a gentleman's agreement almost, that it takes too much and way too long to actually kill each other. So they farm and they run from each other because they want to make sure that they can both teleport to the fight when it's necessary, and it's up to the teams to have the better ward. But immediately, even without clearing the vision, they just don't care. They're starting Baron and they're just saying, come our way.
That ward is actually in the secret spot in the corner of the pit, so it's not currently spotted out by the control ward of UNC. That means Duke have got vision on the inside. Ackerman trying to zone on the front. Teleport completed for Omega. So that's a knockback ejection from the pit. Over the wall, there's a laser, 400, but Smite secured. Theo keeps his cool, and 31 minutes in, UNC take the Baron.
And the disengage from UNC just playing so well there by getting Zach out of the fight with Poppy's ultimate, just making sure that he has no chance of stealing whatsoever. No flashing in, no slingshotting in, the Baron is ours. And Victor and Kennen, while their burst is significant, just was unable to trump what was the 425 smite out of Theo Pinston.
And just like that, UNC are back in the driver's seat. Duke are now clearing out the map. You've got another dragon spawning in 30 seconds. Looks like that's going to be a Cloud Drake, but they've still got that in, mountain from earlier, so UNC will be able to do some damage to turrets.
And they should be utilizing this Baron to really crack down on the base. They've stalled out significantly with that first inhibitor, so I want to see them push down 2 lanes and really utilize the pressure of the super minions to move back and forth. This gold lead, while it's going to be nice getting these turrets, they're in a position where the gold no longer matters. As you mentioned, the late game is here. You need to start cracking the base. So inhibitors is what we're really looking for here.
Oh, there goes the redemption, in fact, combined with the flourish. Very clever play to zone them away from the turret, but 32.5 minutes in, that last bottom tier 2 will drop. There's actually still one in the top lane. But now UNC look for that Cloud Drake, just moving from objective to objective. They have definitely stepped up their macro play from what we've heard of their expectations.
And we can see them 5-man here if they choose to do so. As a 5-man unit, looking for the Zac to engage onto them is going to be nearly impossible because Poppy does offer that Keeper's Verdict, and it's one guaranteed way to make sure that Zac never gets in. Unfortunately, they're going for just a 1-4 approach. They will have to address the top wave eventually, but Zac's ultimate Victor's flash has just been utilized.
Yeah, Jeffacake used his flash, but so too did Yujin, and Theo tried to capitalize on it. It really was just a, gotcha, no I gotcha, no I gotcha, and then summoner spells were burnt. But that is Duke now with 1 Baron inhibitor, 1 top, tier 2 remaining in the top lane, and UNC are not quite taking the time to clear that out.
Don't do this, Yujin. No.
Recall completed.
For an amp tome? Get out of here. What? He recalls for an amp tome? Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't even finish off the Void Staff. Man, that 15 AP though.
Yeah, so the Baron essentially only acquired a Cloud Drake at 30 minutes, which is pretty much useless, and the tier 2 bottom. So really poor Baron play here from UNC. Would have liked to see them do more with the purple worm.
Yeah, they've still got about 30 seconds left on it though. But it seems like they've decided to seed up their pressure on that side of the map as more items are picked up. Blue buff returned back to Yujin, and now Duke despite losing that Baron, as you said, it was only a single turret and some vision on their side of the map.
Yeah, not nearly as much as what you want, but understandably, it takes a lot of courage to just walk up to the base like that, as it gets constantly wave cleared by Victor lasers over and over, and you're in such a dangerous position where the cannon can come out of nowhere. Zach can surprise you and maybe not be next to the Poppy, that it's understandable why they would retreat. It's not an easy play to execute.
Yeah, they just want to keep themselves safe and not throw the game. That is very important, as they do still have a lead now, 8,200 over Duke. And Duke hanging on, not giving up this match just yet. Phantom Dancer now finished for Kumori. That's 3 items on that vein. The clock is ticking.
And while the item lead, the gold lead has actually grown, the itemization isn't that different. If you compare the AD carries and the mid laners, we're not looking at a huge disparity here. These guys are going to be able to kill the tanks, kill the squishies very quickly if they just have the time of day. So we're going to have to just keep our eyes out on the CC. Late game CC is king. Whoever can cleanse better, whoever can utilize the TP flanks and just keep their backline safe is going to come out ahead.
You just saw some of the preliminary damage that Kumori could do to a minion wave if he's able to find a squishy target. That's a lot of damage, but UNC looks like they're going to try to pressure onto this bear inhibitor. As 5, they've grouped. Ackerman starts spinning the verdict. Will he catch someone? Lets it go. That's going to be the reset. Sunny tries to go in. Tidal Wave knocks it up. Exhaust keeps Jeffacake back. Kumori looks for Apollos, finds him. That's a kill with the assistance of Jeffacake. Theo tries to get him, but only turns it into a double kill. Omega will sacrifice his life as the Keeper's verdict trying to keep Sunny away. Kumori kites it back in. That's 2 members of UNC dead, and Duke lose only 1.
And Eugen was the focus of that entire fight. Kennen and Zach instantly jump on him. He's basically chain CC'd while the Janna is up front, trying to make sure that she goes down and that Orianna does not, and barely is able to walk out of the fight. And you can see the clear difference that these fights have when Eugen is able to just do whatever he wants and when he's being zoned so effectively. Lee Sin just has no chance and no business being next to Victor and Vayne. And you can watch Cider here. The early Poppy ultimate is not going to go anywhere. She tries to get the tackle, does not hit the stun, and Kennen immediately goes in. Lee Sin and Vayne find themselves outside of this fight, and it just gets split into 2-parter. Lee Sin just unable to really do anything onto the likes of Vayne, and Orianna with the spooky ghost forced to retreat, because while it does no damage, the reveal and the slow is too dangerous for you to be in that proximity.
Now Dragon is up in 1 minute and 40 seconds. So Scuttle Crab is being taken by Sunny. Baron's up in another 60. That's going to be Elder Drake in addition to that Baron spawning within 30 seconds of each other.
And you have to imagine that this is not going to be a matter of inhibitors anymore. It's going to be, as you mentioned, the Elders and the Barons. It's going to start off with a curtain call into Kennen, but a nice little run, an electric dash, he's going to be able to get out of there.
Yeah. Few exploratory curtain call shots.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's here. No, he's not. What about over there?
That's how they did it in the old days, right? You fire shots into the dark, and
yeah,
if somebody
was that really?
If somebody screams, you shouldn't have shot it that way.
What? You read interesting books about the old days.
You do not want to read what I read.
Yeah. Oh, and once again, getting the ward into the secret spot in the Baron
So
pit.
it looks like it's in the little crevices where the wards are actually hidden completely. So that might be something to know for future games.
Yeah, UNC do not know that that ward is there. And Duke will have vision over that Baron pit as it spawns. Sunny with a brilliant disposition, laughing his way throughout the mid lane as the vision now is being contested by the 2. Sunny tries to clear it out, but Ackerman is there, so he will back away. Here comes the chase. Eugen, so strong, finishing that Void Staff now.
And the stun just not able to connect, so Sunny in a safe position there. But keep an eye out on the minion waves here. Last time on one of the pushes, what slowed UNC down was that top lane wave. They felt compelled that they had to go. And it's just a matter of about a minute or 2 until the top lane wave from Duke crashes into the tier 2 once again. And we see Ackerman doing the exact same same thing, splitting off, addressing the wave first, but it's happening in the bottom side as well. Who will go bottom and protect that wave? So it looks to me like Duke just has a superior wave management here and is able to influence the center of the map. While it may not appear so, it certainly is happening, and you can see it by UNC retreating and feeling the pressure.
On the other side, though, UNC has said that they take pride in their late-game team fighting. So, yes, while the wave management might be good, could also be an opportunity for UNC to say, oh no, we're pressured in the sideline, let's fight.
Yes, now that Poppy, she has to teleport, so they're sending her down to the bottom side. And we have some decent flank wards here from UNC that might be utilized, so we'll see how good is Sunny and Gop in clearing out the vision. Double Trinket should be enough to completely remove any TP boards.
Ackerman now catching up with this minion wave, clears it out almost immediately.
And it's just going to be a shame, because no matter how much gold she spends in her tanking items, Vayne will always kill her.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of Vayne. You can 100% kill tanks no matter what stage of the game that you're at. That's the beauty of the true damage. That's something that not a whole lot of champions have. And that allows her to play the team fights a lot more cautiously, right? She can hang back, wait for Poppy, and as long as Poppy is not in range, then she can safely move up and feel like you're contributing to the fight, even though you're killing a tank, because nobody else can at that rate.
We've just crested the 40-minute mark, and after some initial excitement and an early and mid-game advantage is taken by UNC. Due to the team compositions and the champions chosen, Duke now find themselves able to sit back and defend. Ackerman will pressure onto this inhibitor turret in the bottom lane, forcing Omega to come back and respond.
And that's a three-level lead in the top side from Omega and Ackerman. So he's having a really good time here. He should be able to TP. Okay, so he's doing a zoning TP here, but he might be in a dangerous position with Vayne.
Yeah, Baron is being done by UNC. The teleport is completed. Ackerman misses the verdict. There goes the huge snare as the Baron is picked up by UNC. Sunny not able to get in through Ackerman's steadfast presence.
Just so many tools into this lineup to disengage from the Zac, and I really gotta commend the drafting here from UNC, immediately taking away the Janna, the Lee Sin, making sure that Zac will never be relevant into this game, and then just add the Poppy, because why not? Now there's absolutely no chance. And to be fair, I don't think that we've seen a single 5-man engage where Zac has hit every single member. The only time that we saw the engage successfully hit the slingshot was onto Goober when he was stationary, utilizing Curtain Call in the mid lane.
Yeah, and this is a bit unexpected looking at the raw statistics for these two teams. As a whole, Duke over the season 6 season played 4,169 games of ranked League of Legends.
Wow.
UNC comparatively played 1,400. For every one game UNC played, Duke played 2.97.
Well, that is an exceptional amount of video games. I have to just completely respect that, especially ranked 5s. If you've played ranked 5s, you know the frustrations that can come from just sitting there waiting in queue kind of thing. But really good for them to be able to have the resilience to play that long.
That's part of the excitement of it, though, that they have played so many games, but UNC still find themselves with the advantage in this match. Now, with that Baron and Elder Dragon, they push up onto the inhibitor, finally finishing off the job that they started so long ago. But those minion waves are looking awfully far from the base.
And they should feel really comfortable moving up now. There's no excuse to not push up when you have a Krugs or Elder, when you have Baron. And now they're going to find themselves doing the same thing. And you want to see Omega try to look for a sneaky angle, even though he doesn't have TP, kind of de-ward the red side vision that UNC has been able to place. And if they can find the flank, they should be in a good position, because it's just too difficult for you to engage onto this lineup head on.
See, looking for that next inhibitor now. Omega trying to find an opening as that true damage burn slowly chips away at his health. There goes the verdict stacked up. Ackerman zoning as best he can. Eats the stun, but the turret already goes down. Kumori gets caught by the Sonic Wave, but it will not be followed up by Theo as the second inhibitor falls without pop or circumstance.
And this is just beauty to UNC's eyes. They're able to push without any aggression happening, just get the objective for practically free. Now there's a nice little fat wave in the bottom line. They can just go, recall, 5-man that wave, push for an inhibitor, and because they've done it so quickly, they might be able to retain some of the Baron, some of the Elder, and certainly utilize that 5-minute window where the inhibitors are up.
Yeah, they are looking for more as they continue to chase out that minion wave control for Duke. Will buy them time, but not enough, it seems like.
So, yeah, it's, you know, it looks great for UNC here, right? A pretty sizable 13k gold lead, but again, let's compare it to the itemization. We see Vayne and Jhin being nearly identical in gold at 15k. The items are very similar, just how it is between Orianna and Victor. Even though the CS is kind of even, the score is relatively similar, the items, it's 4 to 5. It's 4.5 to 5, which is just, you know, you're both dealing quite a bit amount of damage. And Duke has the Elder on his side, the Infernal, which is going to increase his DPS by that 8 extra% or AP, which will equate to his DPS.
Ackerman goes in, looks for the knockup. Kumori is dead! That's the late game Vayne gone. Omega tries to get in, but can't find it. Sunny is disrupting in the back, but it's up to Jeffa. Does he have what it takes with Omega? They've got a lot of AP, but they cannot find the kill. Sunny is CC locked, forced to flash over the wall. The snare finds him. That's curtain call. GOP looks to take these hits. That's the third. The fourth bullet almost kills him, and he will die to the Deathfire touch. Snare finds Omega. It's followed up by Ackerman, trying to finish this off for an additional kill, but Ackerman is so tanky. Meanwhile, the third inhibitor has gone down. It's still 30 seconds for Kumori.
What a wonderful engage there by Eugen and Ackerman, just immediately deleting Kumori. She had flash, she had heal, just didn't see it coming. There's so much damage that comes out of Orianna to the late game. You see it once again, just tossed and turned like you fell inside a washing machine.
Yeah, Jeffa Cake is feeling awfully clean after that, after he gets knocked around as the first inhibitor, Nexus turret goes down along with the second, knocked right back into the fountain, but that's UNC taking game.